Welcome to Morningstar's Ask the Expert. I'm Holly Black. With me is Alex Morozov. He's head of European equity research at Morningstar. Hello.
Hi, Holly.
So whenever I open up a Morningstar analyst report on a stock, I see stars, a Morningstar star rating. What does that tell me?
Well, the star rating, especially for users of Morningstar research, especially funds research, when they see star rating, they immediately assume, well, that's the Morningstar funds analyst's opinion of funds' prior performance. For stock ratings, stars are actually an indicator of what our analysts think in terms of how attractive the stock as an investment right now. So think of the star ratings as an equivalent of some of those traditional research providers buy-sell ratings. So ranging from a 5-star being the most undervalued stocks to 1 stars being the stocks that are materially overvalued relative to our fair value estimate.
So this is all centered about where the shares are trading today versus the fair value estimate, which is what you think they're worth.
Right. That's exactly what it is. Maybe a little wrinkle in that is there's also what we call an uncertainty rating. So something that's more commonly known as maybe a risk rating of a business. How likely are those earnings to be very volatile over the next 5-10 years, or free cash flows in our case. So think of a star rating as taking the intrinsic value, what we think that the company is worth, the fair value estimate, compare it to stock price, and then adjust it for this risk rating of a business. And that's how you arrive at ultimately those star ratings. So if you're an investor and you open a Morningstar company report and you say, well, Morningstar thinks it's a 5-star stock, what should I do that? Well, that most likely means that given the uncertainty profile of this business, Morningstar thinks that it's one of the most attractive investment opportunities right now. On the flip side, you take a 1-star stock, for example, Tesla.
You might be overpaying.
Yeah, you might be overpaying materially. I mean, Tesla is no doubt in the news right now, and the stock price is very, very, very lofty. But a 1-star indicates that our analysts think it's very overvalued.
So what does it take for a star rating to move? Will something ever go from a 5 to a 1, or is it a lot more gradual?
Right. Well, there are a couple of factors that could result in a star rating changing, let's say, from 5 stars to 4 stars. One, if our analysts actually change the fair value estimate. And there are a couple of reasons why the analysts might change their fair value estimate. For example, if they think that the company is performing better than they expected or worse than expected. Maybe the analysts decide to change the moat rating of a company. So the economic moat rating pertains to our assessment of the competitive advantage of the business. And let's say that there are some industry developments, some massive disruptions that our analysts say, you know what, the economic moat rating or competitive advantage is not as strong as we previously thought it would. And since the economic moat rating actually specifically, implicitly flows into our fair value estimates, that could also result in a change to fair value estimate. So that's one reason. The second reason, and that's the reason that probably is more common, is that the stock price actually moves. So what our analysts try to tell investors is that this particular company is worth X. And the wider the discount, the greater the star rating. So when the stock price starts moving towards our fair value estimate, which is great if you're an investor, the star rating starts to shrink. So it goes from 5 stars to perhaps 3 stars over time, and maybe even 1 star if it wildly overshoots our fair value estimate. So if you're an investor, you really do want to see that development, assuming it's for the reasons that the stock is appreciating rather than the fair value estimate is getting cut.
And what about 3-star rating, right in the middle? So it's quite clear what 1 and 5 would tell me as an investor, but what does 3 tell me?
Well, the way our star rating works is that we say that the 3-star stock is, I would say, considered to be fairly valued. We're not saying that an investor should not look at those securities. What we are saying, however, is that the stock is probably going to return somewhere in line with what a market should return over time. So a 3-star stock could still be a good investment depending on your required returns, but I wouldn't consider it to be a very attractively priced. So maybe an equivalent to a hold, if you will. So.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And thanks for joining us.